Hello, hello! Let's talk about a new solo raid. This time we're going to be talking about Massive Object. So, this raid is frankly very easy to tackle with. I'm mostly going to be talking about teams so you guys can do better damage rather than anything else. It is, I want to say, very easy to survive through things. If you have any kind of healer, you're going to most likely survive like it's nothing. Um, It's just a matter of doing DPS. So I'm going to go in order of hardest to easiest teams. There is two teams I don't have any healer on. This is the one here is the first one. It's actually the one that's a little more difficult because I don't have shields either. But it is very doable. This boss doesn't do too much damage, it's just a matter of like being careful about how you go about it. I will also say one thing here, I am using Summer Anise as my second burst 3. If you guys struggle with keeping everyone alive, just make Ludmilla your second burst 3. The reason why is that Summer Anise can allow you to do more damage overall than Christmas Ludmilla. However, Christmas Ludmilla, the thing that she has going for her is that she boosts her own attack when she's bursting. The reason why this is important is because the Gatling gun, which is what deals the most damage really, is targeting the one with the highest attack. If you're mid-burst on Red Hood, it's going to target her, obviously. However, if you're mid-burst with Ludmilla, then it's going to be targeting her instead, so it spreads the damage between two units. Summer Anise does not really boost her attack enough to wrestle the taunt basically away from Red Hood. So as a result, it is way easier for me to just burst with Ludmilla, but I wanted to just do more damage. Also, if you're curious about how much damage I'm doing overall with all 5 teams, it is 5.6 billion. I think I am currently in the top 120-ish, but yeah. The start is very simple. You just use Red Hood. You're going to want to be bursting a lot. And here, also, this is the main mechanic you're looking out for. This mechanic where you see it taking this shape will target one person. You'll have to figure out who's getting shot and then cover at the right time. Here it was targeting specifically Red Hood, which is why I cover here before going back in again. You can grasp the timing and, you know, just cover at the proper time to do more damage, but that is a little hard. It will take you a few tries to get used to. This attack you'll have to mostly cover. This is what is going to be shredding most of your cover. Personally, I count 7 hits and then I go back in. Sometimes a little more depending on how my HP situation looks like. As for these, I don't try to butter with them until they're very close. Because if I'm close to be bursting, it makes it very easy for me to just hit multiple at once with Red Hood, break them, and then just generate more burst. This matters because if you burst fast enough here, you can get through your entire burst with Anise and then do the circle. Now, understand this, the circles take forever to go through. If you want to maximize damage, just use your burst there until the circle ends. If you have CDR, if you don't have CDR, it's a whole other story. I am not using a team that doesn't have CDR or isn't shotgun, so I would not know how to actually handle this. Just know that in my case, I just keep them as long as possible to just do as much damage as I can. And here it runs out just in time. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind with Red Hood is that her burst, or not her burst, her shooting radius is a lot bigger than it looks. It is very easy to hit a wide circle even though you're far away from them. Just keep that in mind. Try to stay away as much as possible from the other circle so you don't actually accidentally hit one. But yeah. You can also use Ludmilla for this. My Ludmilla does not have a whole lot of ammo, So as a result, I tried to focus on using Red Hood instead, because it is safer for me to have enough ammo for it. You burst right away because it genuinely doesn't matter. What matters is to get the burst timeline as much as you can, because you're going to be able to kill all 3 cores that way. Here you had to switch to D to actually do the circles. And again, cover. That attack you always have to cover. If you don't cover it, you're going to lose like over 50% of your health on the character, and it actually will fuck your run over. Again here, wait until I get hit. I wanted to burst early here because I'd rather take an extra burst, but only 5 seconds, rather than no burst, wait for a while, and then burst, and then lose a burst at the end. You're going to see why that's important later. Again, go back in. As you can see, my Red Hood is in a precarious situation. Yeah. It's just going to be a problem because I'm not bursting with Ludmilla. Ludmilla takes the heat off completely toward the end, and that helps a lot. What I do also with these is I try not to break them unless I'm out of burst, but also I try to line them up with the boss, right? I have Pierce at the end of the day. If I'm able to just kill them while hitting the boss, great. If not, I just don't try. And here, as you can see, Mary is again the target. I simply cover. And yeah, it's just that simple. You have enough time to break everything. As far as the last piece here... Oh wait, not this one. It's a little later. But the last time the core will show up, you'll want to be using Red Hood's Burst 1. That's why you don't use it early. And also because the shield is up early, so... This one here is the one you're going to be using Red Hood into... Mary into Red Hood. Because you need to kill it as soon as you can. Keep in mind this attack here. Also, I just wanted to reload Ludmilla here. The attack that it just hit me with, on when it takes that form, does like no cover damage. But if it hits you, it does a lot of damage. So as long as you have some cover, after this move specifically, you're fine. Here I didn't mind about losing Red Hood because this attack was going to last until the end of the map anyway. So I just wanted to do as much damage as I possibly could. So yeah, this is a no-hit run. Again, you have to mostly look out for this form here. Usually I give myself 3 seconds-ish. I'm guessing it's going a little slower in my head than it's on screen, so maybe more like 2 seconds after the green hue is showing up, and then I cover. But you have to take care of this with this team, otherwise you will most likely die. So yeah. Now, second team is actually not a no-heal team, but it's very difficult to DPS as well as you want to. This is the Maxwell comp. Now, my Maxwell is not exactly insane, and I will say this. If your Maxwell is better than mine, you might be able to two-shot the core. Not in the first rotation. You're not going to be able to kill it in the first rotation. It takes too long to take down the shield at the end of the day. But, you know, if you're talking about simply breaking it in Phase 2 and 3, I think it's possible with Maxwell. I'm not sure for Phase 3, or like the third cycle, I should say. Because at that point, the problem you run into is just, well, do you have enough time to get 2 bursts in, right? But, yeah, for the first one, I get it down, I get down the boss to like almost nothing. I can get that bar if I time it up with litter, with litter's boost. I can sometimes get it down to like less than 5%. So if you have a better Maxwell than mine, it's very possible you can two-shot it, which helps a lot for obvious reasons. Now here, if you're wondering why I'm bursting, it's just because it's going to reset the cooldown on Maxwell's burst a little, thanks to litter. Litter reduced the cooldown of everything whenever you're bursting, so you're able to actually line this up. Now, as you can see here, I do more damage than normal. I don't know why. It just is how it is. Here, Modernia is the one to do the circles for you, so I believe I was still used to using D to do circles, which is why I swapped to litter. Thankfully, it was mid-burst, so it doesn't matter. You just ignore mechanics with this team. Blanc Noir gives you so much heal, it literally does not matter. And here, as you can see, right, this is like 10-15%-ish HP. Again, if you have a better Maxwell than mine, you most likely will be able to break this in 2 hits. My Maxwell, I just put 4 rocks and that's it, so that's kind of why. I'm sure this is how most people are. I just face tanked that, but genuinely, I could have done the circles. I just took a little too long. And here, I just break the core, finally. So, 3 hits for that one. Right? As you can see here, Noir lost like 60% of her health right there. And again, I am bursting so that Maxwell is ready for bursting the second that phase, or cycle 3 happens. You have very little time here. So, if you can two-shot, if you have just a bit more damage, it is very doable to break it in 2. I unfortunately cannot break it in 2, so that is what it is. You need Pierce to hit the core if that is not obvious. So, yeah. Here I didn't wait. I didn't realize I had as much time as I did. If I did, I would have fully charged it. And I think if you nail that one, you can actually unironically two-shot it. At least if you have enough, you know, overloads giving attack to Maxwell. Also, charge damage is actually not bad to boost the damage of that. I will say, by the way, a little footnote, because usually you run Onslaught on Maxwell because, you know, more damage equal good. With this comp, you are extremely lacking in terms of burst generation. You have Noir giving you burst gen, but depending on the form, she is missing a lot of pellet hits. So, strongly recommend running Resilience on Maxwell. It does a big difference. Next up. So this is the SBS Alice comp. This is the second no damage team. But you're going to see that it's really only, no healing team. But you'll see that it's really just a no healing team by name. I ignore every mechanic. There is no point caring about the mechanics, because at the end of the day, right, they just don't matter when you have a shield up. Now, I will say one thing. People might be confused as to why I'm running Dorothy of all people here instead of like Litter or D. So, 2 reasons. If Dorothy brings Privacy, the biggest perk with this is that whenever you're in burst, Alice has infinite ammo. This is really important for when she's bursting and the boss is weak to fire, so it helps her a lot. Second, Dorothy needs Privacy anyway, and she also improves damage to part, so you're able to break the core a lot faster. Also, D is already taken with another team, as she is the only fire unit in that team to be able to do circles. So as a result, you know, the only option you effectively have would be Litter, but Litter is better off used elsewhere than this. Surely she would be good here, but she kind of becomes redundant because of Privity, and I don't feel like having a third DPS would do much of a difference. This is one of those raids where you don't have a whole lot of burst 3s by the end of the day, because I am not using Summer Anise, Exia, and Scarlet. I am using Summer Anise in another team because I had nothing else. So, you know. Just a point worth mentioning. So yeah, a single burst with Alice allows you to kill the core pretty consistently, and because of Dorothy's damage to part increase, it makes it pretty easy. Just one burst is plenty. As you can see, when they get really close, it's a lot easier to clump them and kill them, like, really close to each other. And yeah, here, as you can see, I'm trying to, like, get as much out of my burst as possible. And, yeah, it's that simple. At the end of the day, this team is very simple. I'm just being incredibly aggressive with it and reliant extremely on shield, right? And there's the core, again, gone. So here, unless Black Shadow's the one being attacked, it genuinely doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, right, Black Shadow was the only character that got hit by the Gatling gun, so her shield was deleted. Anyone else is just free. They can just take the hit and it's completely fine. Here I missed a Brent. Good old Dorothy not doing her job right. Really wish the Brent was better than that, man. It's so annoying to use. That would have been an extra 15 million damage, so, you know. It is what it is. I was pressed for time when I did this run. I think it was an hour before reset. I could probably do better, especially considering my 5th team is genuinely not good. Like, it's actually absolute dog water. At least in my opinion. I'm using Shotgun for Team 5, shockingly enough. It is a very simple team at the end of the day, but it only gets like 530 mil. You'll see, especially with Team 4 that I'm going to be showing, or Team 5, I don't know in which order I've put them, because frankly it's all the same at that point. I am using Rei and Asuka together. Oh. I could very much just use both together, or just split them and do a 15. The problem with that is I don't have a whole lot of option to go with her, but I could. I generally could. Here you're going to be using Tia a lot for Burst Gen, so I strongly recommend that you actually use Resilience on Tia. I am not using Resilience here, and I was not willing on resetting the game to actually make the difference, but yeah. Because at the end of the day, right, thanks to Tia, you can actually, like, burst an extra burst, potentially, or maybe even 2 bursts. So it's really helpful for Tia to have Resilience in those moments. Otherwise, it's like business as usual. Just note, right? Just note, you want to use Rei, that's her name, to actually deal with circles. Because Asuka is stupid, and for some reason her assault rifles are explosive rounds when her Pierce is active. Like, she shoot in the middle and it just explodes everywhere. I don't get it. I genuinely don't. But it just has a massive area of effects, so better be careful at that point. My Asuka is decent OL. My Mary has really, really bad OL, but she has 2 max ammo roll. This is really all you care about at this point with this team. Oh, by the by, for those who are wondering, my Asuka is 777, my Rei is 477, and my Mary is 655 in this video. So, you can probably, like, just have 444 and be fine. At the end of the day, right, it's not like those are more or less required. Here I fucked up. I could definitely have done better there, but it's really hard to see the mark mid-burst. It just gets, like, overrated by all the shiny shit that's going on screen. And I was, again, running out of time, so... I could probably do, like, 5.8 bill, maybe up to 6 bill. Especially if I use Mari for a team 5. But, yeah. I don't have a whole lot of burst 3s left at that point, so I don't know how well that would work. Oh yeah, this is 882 mil. It's not exactly amazing, but again, my Rei is not exactly good. If I had gotten more elemental damage on her, she would have probably done like an extra 100, 200 mil. My Modernia is also trash, by the way. Don't be surprised if yours is doing better than mine. Mine is just like a bunch of max ammo and like 1 elemental roll. It's not good, and she still does 500 million by herself. It's very simple to beat my teams in terms of damage by just using the exact same team. I do not care for Modernia as a character, so I've never really invested too much into her. I just invested until she was good enough. Now, here is the shotgun team. I just do not care, and it just somehow works. As stupid as that sounds, it just kind of does. The only thing is the first laser is a bit problematic, because if it hits any of the attacker unit, and potentially Bunny Alice, because my Bunny Alice is not as invested, you might have to cover some of the AoE here. Just something to consider. And also, while Bunny Alice is a great healer, it is worth mentioning that you might just be better off with just covering some of these lasers. But yeah. Here, just use Tove. If you're lucky, you might be able to even keep your stacks. Good luck, though, on that. But yeah, welcome to the part that kind of sucks. So here's the thing, right? I'm gonna make it as simple as I can. Drake is not needed. You can just tank this. Also, another thing of note, Drake is genuinely horrible. I think you barely do more damage, if you even do better damage, unless your Drake has like cracked overloads with like a lot of elemental damage. Don't bother. Just don't bother. I still do 500 mil with this team. It's not a good team at all. I am fully aware of this. But, again, I am running out of burst 3s in general at that point. The main one I could use is Scarlet, and she is a little awkward right now to use just because she takes so much damage by herself that, you know, if I just get hit at any time, she most likely is dead. And unfortunately, because that targets the highest attack unit, and it's going to be active at all time, it just makes that a little awful. But yeah, this is just very simple overall. Just do as much damage as you can. Which usually should be 500-ish mil. Yeah. And here, as you can see, you barely get more time to do damage after this AoE specifically, so it's completely fine. Now, I do want to point out, this is a little different than what I usually do. So, these are the teams I've been using, and all of their damage compile. I'm sorry if this is small as fuck. Complain about Discord. However, I'm going to say this. I have other, like, alternative that do a little worse, but they do fine-ish. And the main thing is, this team stays the same, this team stays the same, this team just has Ludmilla instead of Summer Anise, and there's a difference of roughly 80 mil. But these two, I swapped stuff around. I had Ray on the third team, and I had Maxwell replace Ray on the Tianaga team. And the results were pretty simple. I did worse with both beforehand. After the change, where like Ray was put with Asuka, I was doing better. Maxwell did with Tianaga was doing better. I was just doing better damage overall. But the difference isn't that much, and the reason why I even want to point this out in general is because if you feel more comfortable having Ray with bunnies because you don't have enough ammo, it is genuinely a strat that you can do. Also, Maxwell is a little harder to pilot. The reason for that is just because you have to get 3 bursts to break the core, unless your Maxwell is a lot better. If your Maxwell has, like, I want to see 3-ish attack rolls, you most likely can 2-shot the core. And the thing that matters with this is that because you're hitting the body and the core, you do more damage, right? So overall, if you're able to break the core, which also gives you bonus damage, it is way better to put them in Tianaga at that point. But if you can't, then it's probably just fine to put them with Asuka. Just worth it. Just thought it'd be worth mentioning, because at the end of the day, you know, we all have different investment. We have all different overloads, so you know. Personally, this is what worked better for me, but this also works. And again, you know, the team with Ludmilla bursting doesn't do that much worse. It might also be a bit due to RNG, so it might not even be like just straight up 80 mil more. So, you know. And if you wonder why Summer Anise is here in general, that's just the best burst 3 I had available that wasn't killing itself. It's that simple. As for a Team 5 that does not use Shotgun, you probably want Summer, Mary, and Dola as a baseline, and probably run like A2 potentially, with potentially Scarlet. It's not exactly amazing, so, you know, just food for thoughts. But yeah, with that said, this is how the Soul Raid went for me. If you guys, if this helps anyone, then the guy did his job. But again, I don't expect many people to really care about this. This is a very, and I do mean very, easy Soul Raid to solve. So yeah. Hopefully this helps either way. And with that, I'll see you all next time. Have a nice one, everyone.